Welcome to Expert Talks by Kalkine TV. I'm your host, Sage, and today's guest is Mr Philip Ridyard, the CEO and founder of Strait Brands. Thanks for joining us, Philip. We really do appreciate your time.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks, Sage.
And Strait Brands is a multi-award winning business, most recently being awarded Australia's most innovative vodka and gin producer in the Global Business Awards 2021. Congratulations. What do you think is your winning strategy behind these continuous accolades?
Well, the whole basis of the business initially was to be ahead of the game. And when we first went into production in 2006, we launched the first premium vodka and premium gin in Australia. And from that moment on, we sought to be ahead of the market, ahead of the competitors. And at that stage, there were hardly any competitors whatsoever in the Tasmanian or Australian market. So with Strait Vodka and Strait Dry Gin, we entered a spirits world as an independent, and within months we'd won a couple of awards in the UK in the International Wine and Spirit Competition from pre-production samples, and it's gone on from there. We were the first commercially produced producer of the first commercially manufactured sloe gin in Australia. We've introduced the first hazelnut gin in the world. We've downstream processed second grade fruit grown in Tasmania for our vodka and gin ranges. And we just want to be one step ahead all the way along.
Oh, yum. That hazelnut gin sounds delicious. And you just got to pounce on those openings in the market when you see them, don't you? Thank you so much for sharing that very inspiring story. So, Philip, how is Strait Brands creating jobs for Australians? I understand giving people a chance to work and earn their living is of importance to you at this time.
Absolutely. The business started because I was made redundant from a public affairs role with a listed business here in Tasmania, and despite some consultancy couldn't find full-time employment. So I went back to the roots of my expertise, which for nearly 40 years has been in the international drinks industry, initially in the UK, and then representing a number of breweries and pub groups and in European drinks businesses that moved into the UK as a PR consultant and strategic management advisor. And I decided I'd get back to the industry, and instead of writing about it, I decided that I'd actually make something. And I chose vodka primarily because it can be made and sold on the same day. Over the last 12 months, during COVID, I placed a small ad on our Facebook page offering people potential employment, and we had probably about 40 applications. And rather than specifically advertising positions, I actually created jobs around the talent that came forward. And even though we've not totally funded this expansion yet, we're looking at probably 20 people who've been provisionally appointed into fairly unique roles, and that includes most of those people have been out of work prior or since, and have not been able to find any employment in the post-COVID scenario. Plus, there's a fair number of them who what we would call contemporary to me in terms of age, who were just excluded because of ageism in the workplace. But the quality of their talent and their expertise over many years is just what we're looking for.
Fantastic to hear that you're able to create these opportunities, and it's Freedom Day in New South Wales this week, starting yesterday, and I think there'll be many people heading to the pub for a gin or a vodka perhaps, or out looking for jobs at the pub. And I think the federal government has offered distillers and craft breweries rebate on excise fees. Is that correct for this year? And is that how you're able to afford to put these people in these newly appointed positions?
Well, unfortunately, we don't qualify for the rebate at the moment, and that's primarily because we're building a new production facility that will be capable of packaging about 11,500 bottles in a day. And so currently we're in contract facilities. If we had a still that had our name on it in those contract facilities, then we would qualify for the rebate. The current excise duty per bottle is $24.89, and so part of the funding exercise has been to ensure that we have enough cash in the bank to cover massive domestic expansion over the next 18 months, because we have to pay the excise every Monday. So to give you an idea, if we were to move 10 pallets from Tasmania into a mainland location, we'd be looking for $160,000 in excise.
Right, that's quite a significant amount you've mentioned there. So the pandemic restrictions have caused many changes to your prospective scheduling due to travel restrictions. How have overcoming these challenges provided positive outcomes for Strait Brands, please?
Well, in January and February last year, we should have had an overseas investor arrive in Tasmania and seal a deal that would have kicked us on with the completion and commissioning of our new production plant. But combined with that, I was also out of the state for 407 days in the UK, having been caught there in lockdown. But the approach that I took was to either wave goodbye to the business, because COVID would have been a great excuse, and that lasted probably about 30 seconds, or remodel the business to take advantage of the COVID situation. And probably the most important aspect of that was to create a stimulus strategy that would not only kick our business on, but kick a number of other Tasmanian businesses into an area where they probably never imagined. And that's on the basis of expanding the business into international markets. And while I was in lockdown in the UK, I was able to further an opportunity with a British distributor, and they were prepared to take on the entire Strait range, which is 5 vodkas and 5 gins, 8 of which are flavoured with second-grade Tasmanian fruit or sloe berries grown in orchards, or hazelnuts. And they then presented us with a bit of a conundrum. They wanted a super premium range too, to take on the biggest selling gin in the UK, which is a brand called Whitley Neal. And so while I was incarcerated in lockdown in Wales, I devised an entirely new brand called Badger Head, which has relevance to our location, and will have an embossed wombat on the decanter, and it has a lasered wombat on the stopper. And the relevance of that is that when the British created a settlement at Yorktown, the third oldest settlement in Australia, in 1804, they called wombats badgers. And so here we are. We've got to create another 5 vodkas and another 5 gins, and hopefully we'll now be doing a pre-launch in the UK in February and March next year, with a launch into retail probably April and May.
Thank you so much for sharing that exciting story. I mean, you've just turned what was a minor catastrophe into a sprawling growth strategy. That's amazing. Definitely the man for the job. An exciting time to talk to you as well at the moment, as Strait Brands will be integrating the blockchain into your business operations. Why did you make this decision, and what are you hoping to achieve from this transition, please?
Well, we've had previous experience in the Chinese market and other areas of Asia, and it's only a matter of time before you enter those markets before counterfeited bottles and counterfeited uh, labels and content suddenly appear in the market, and you're competing with yourself. So over the years, we've been looking at a solution to that, and it's not dissimilar to some of the actions that particularly cherry growers in Tasmania have been looking at, mainly in QR codes on cartons. Uh, we're looking to go several steps further forward, and this is in um, sort of in keeping with our approach to our innovation and pioneering status within the industry. So we'll be using a brand new world first tagging technology that will guarantee that we when a retail customer or even a wholesale customer purchases a bottle of a Strait product or a Badger Head product, that it's actually come from us. And this traceability is absolutely critical. But the technology that's been developed on our behalf also gives us the opportunity to use it as a marketing tool. So what we put in at our end can be production, it could be the location, which is in the bush in northern Tasmania. It could be our springs from which we can draw 10,000 litres an hour. It could be the growers of our fruit. It could be slow berry picking. So from a traceability and marketing perspective, it just takes us well ahead of anybody else within the industry. And also, particularly in the UK, I suppose, people think that Tasmania is in Africa. So at least they'll be able to trace us and the location rather than thinking we're somewhere on the edge of the Indian Ocean.
Yes, so true. Tasmania and Tanzania, do you think that's where the mix-up's coming from?
That's it, yes.
But yes, supply chain logistics and food security are very important topics at the moment, especially with some backlogs in certain supply chains. So it's good to hear that you're working towards keeping your brand's integrity and moving on to the blockchain. How exciting for you. So, Philip, we're almost reaching the end of the discussion. How does Strait Vodka's brand set it aside from the other boutique Australian spirit distillers, please, apart from what you've already mentioned? And what are your near-term goals?
Well, we've always been focused on not being a boutique brand. The whole strategy has been based on international expansion, and that's why from 2007 we were exporting to China and Vietnam and Indonesia. Sadly, one by one, those markets fell down, and Indonesia, it's because of moratoria on imported spirits. In Vietnam, our distributor had another business, which was the largest sanitary towel business in Southeast Asia, and that burst into flames, and he decided he'd concentrate on that for a couple of years. And in China, we were dealing with a distributor that was funded from Europe, and after the GFC, they just pulled the plug. So we're really back to where we should have been in terms of our ambition. Our short-term goals are to achieve national distribution through Metcash in Australia, and we're already listed with that business. As I mentioned earlier, we'll go straight into the UK April, May next year. We're dealing with a national marketing agency with interface into distributors across the USA. We're setting up our own Singapore-based distribution business in Southeast Asia, which will bring back our distributor in Vietnam, who currently is also the biggest distributor of Scotch whisky. So Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, and from our point of view, the Philippines, which is the biggest gin market in the world.
Fantastic. It sounds like a very exciting time to be connecting with you. Thank you so much for sharing your business insights today on Expert Talks. Amidst your busy schedule, I believe you're heading off to the UK soon. Is that correct?
That's right, on November the 1st for 17 days.
Fantastic. Well, I hope your trip goes well.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Yes, we do appreciate your time as well. And if you've just joined us, viewers, we had a delightful discussion with Mr Philip Ridyard, CEO, founder of Strait Brands. And the full recorded interview will be available via Kalkine Media's YouTube channel. Please keep watching Kalkine TV for more live expert talks and market updates. And as we say, stay apprised and invest wise with Kalkine.